The Unlimited Superstockers are finished up here for the evening. Time now for our Superstock diesel trucks at the Super Clean 300 Raceway Farley Nationals, presented by Mack Trailer. Another extremely competitive category that has developed over the course of time, and boy, these trucks are good. They are strong. They make a ton of power, and the drivers are second to none. Jacob Bear will kick off the category. The name of the truck, Grin & Barrett. Just a beautiful truck as well, and will set the mark to beat at 312.
So awesome to see him develop as a driver in this category as we take a look at our running order tonight, and so many names synonymous with winning here in this category. You know, we've got Eric Stacey, who's really come along in the last few years and smoking you. Shane Kellogg and Trump has put a title under his belt. Of course, Kent Crowder out here will be in the latter part of the category, and then Van Hazley in the Rock Hard Ram, who has been tough to beat this year.
Yeah, back-to-back wins for him, right? And including here just one night ago as Terry Biggs starts to build boost inside of this one. They call it the Deadpool. Finished up fifth in the points just 1 year ago. Certainly no slouch, and the distance up on the board will be 3:07 and 56 for Terry Biggs as we take a look at the points.
Van Hazley on top with those back-to-back wins. He's just been unbeatable this season. Kent Crowder doing business in there with back-to-back seconds, doing his best. And then we see Shane Kellogg up there in the number 3 spot, and Brian Withrow holding down the 4th and 5th spots with his 2 trucks making moves this season.
Yeah, great stuff for sure. As we continue on here, it's going to be Eric Stacey coming up next with the Smokin' Ya HD out of Winchester, Ohio, and Leslie spent some time with him earlier today.
Eric Stacey made a few changes to the Smokin' Ya today to get it to hook up a little bit harder to the track. So, Eric, what are the points that you look at to make those changes when you've got a track that's a little softer, which is not what your truck's traditionally like?
Well, typically what works for like the tractors doesn't typically work for us. So, you know, we're with our horsepower level and our weight, it's a little bit harder for us on a softer track to get, you know, the traction that we need. So, you know, we adjust the gearing, we adjust the tire pressure, and, you know, sometimes we can play with the hitch a little bit, change the angle of it a little bit. I mean, it's kind of dependent on each, you know, night. And tonight we made a few minor changes, but I think the track's probably going to be a little bit different. And we've, you know, with having 18 trucks in the class, the pull order makes a big difference. So we're a little earlier tonight. I think that helps us. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
Did not chase points throughout the entire season a year ago, but if you go back to 2018, they finished up 3rd in the points. They are tough for sure. Wow, and the ground speed out of that truck was impressive. I thought he was full throttle there about halfway through, and then he went full throttle. It was like, oh my goodness, man, that thing is strong. 3:16 and 95. We've got a brand new leader.
And you can watch the smoke coming out of the pipes and see how he's working the throttle. Puts it all the way over there on that right sideline, and that's the sweet spot for this truck. And as he mentioned earlier, this is a good track for big tires, smaller tires, especially diesel trucks with those smaller tires, like a harder packed track. And so he went back to the drawing board, looked at his notes, looked at his points of data that he puts on his acquisition system, and made those changes, and that made a huge difference for him.
Here comes the first of 2 trucks out of the Nut Job team. This is the Nut Job 2, comes in here 5th in the points. On the tone of that engine, just completely different at 3:01 and 57 is where he'll end up.
You know, it looked like Withrow left the line a little bit more aggressive on that first effort and then had to back out of it really hard. And so by doing that, you lose a lot of that RPM band that you need at the top end.
You mentioned Shane Kellogg when we were talking about the points there. Comes in here third in the points and kicked the season off with a third-place finish. Respectable effort one night ago. Finished up sixth one night ago. We'll put 3:09 and 57 on the board here, and that'll be good enough to jump up into third place.
And we can already see a trend here where guys are going to kind of follow in the footsteps of the Smoking Ya truck and kind of find that line out here. This is going to be Nathan Vegg and his dad, Ference, out there, a former orchestra conductor and teacher out there, kind of bringing him up on the line and lining him up on the track.
Beautiful truck for sure. Love the lighting underneath. Unfortunately, the distance here will be a bit short of what they're hoping for. So 291 and 96 for Jumping Jack Flash. We will take a quick break here. When we come back, it'll be our points leader and so far undefeated for the season, Van Hazley. Fans having a great time here at the Super Clean 300 Raceway Farley Nationals, presented by Mac Trailer. Great to get out of the house and watch some motorsports action go down. Van Hazley backing that one up. He had a chance to speak to Leslie a little bit earlier, and of course you'll see his logo on a number of fire suits out here. They work with a lot of teams, and he's off to a great start here in 2020.
The Rock Hard Ram has kind of been a work in progress for the last 2 years, but Van, it seems like this truck is just right where you want it to be. So how has your mindset as a driver changed from 2 years ago to now, and how has that helped you?
Well, as we were speaking a little bit ago, Leslie, it just 2 years ago, I was just frightened every time I let out on the clutch. This thing would just jump out from underneath me. It was so bad that my son and I had talked about cutting Rock Hard Ram in half and starting over. And finally, we figured out what the clutch problem was. We switched manufacturers. But since then, we've upgraded our engine program. We're running the Weimer turbos and the Nichols tires now. But the truck is just consistent. And one of the big things, Leslie, is when the truck is consistent, anybody out here will tell you that you just get so complacent and you know what your truck's going to do or your tractor's going to do. And so when you leave the starting line, you're not worried about what your truck's got to do. You're worried about what the driver has to do, because our class is such a driver's class. It's kind of like playing poker. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And our throttle is the same way. And I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but the nut behind the wheel's been doing a pretty good job lately.
Taking himself lightly, but he certainly has a feel for it, and it is exactly that, a feel for how much grip that thing has and when he can use it all. And he just seems to be able to go to full throttle sooner than everybody else. And look at that distance, 3:19 and 71, a brand new leader here as he puts near 3 feet on Eric Stacy.
I love the fact that the track is consistent, though, because we see him go to that left side and make this beautiful pass. But I think that for him and being able to go full throttle so soon goes back to the clutch. So many guys in this category have told me that it's all about the clutch, and they make those changes to try to get it to hook up harder and faster on the line because they know it's about ground speed. You mentioned it with the run by Smoking Ya. It had such amazing ground speed. That's what you need, because when the box tops off on the sled, you're going to rely on that ground speed to carry you out the top end.
Man, that one pushing wicked flame out of the pipe. And the truck known as Gertrude, as you can see, it is for sale. If you'd like to jump into the party, we'd love to have you come out here and join the gang. But unfortunately, he's going to be just a tick short at 297 and 50.
Up next, it'll be the Triple Alpha Process. and Jeff Miffick, and he's really worked a lot on his program to make some changes over the last year, and I spoke with him earlier today.
It's always interesting the different setups that people have for their vehicles and how they hook up to the track. And Jeff, you kind of have a unique setup that is really tuned in to the track conditions this weekend.
Yeah, so we run a stock chassis. It's actually a Ford Super Duty chassis. And then we run a steel body. So our weight distribution is much different than somebody like a Van Hazley with a tube chassis and a fiberglass body. So we really have to be careful with our weight distribution. 100 pounds here or there really messes up our front end. So a lot of times it's hit or miss with us, but with this track, it's a little bit softer than some of the tracks we've been on, and actually this truck likes it because it's a little bit more forgiving, and we can really get the tires to set in, and when it takes hold, that weight distribution just works better on tracks like we have today.
Over the chalk he goes. That's an immediate DQ, and what a shame. It just made a really quick move to the left there, and then he brought it right back, but it was too little too late. What a shame.
What I'm noticing is the ground speed that he had off the line and then where he finished at the top end, because if he could have kept it in bounds, I think that he would have taken the lead away here from the rock hard Ram. If you look where he ends up with that leader cone, and you could see he was backing out of it early, and that's probably one of the best passes that I've seen the Triple Alpha process make out there. A full head of steam off the line, hooked up hard right away, and he really had a chance if he just could have kept it in bounds.
Here is the reigning champ. In fact, has won the championship 2 out of the last 3 years. A couple of really good trucks yet to go inside of this category. In fact, 3 very good trucks. This is Kent Crowder and Shai Diesel. Boy, and a solid effort right here. 3:12 and 65 won't be enough to take over the lead, but he does sneak by Jacob Barron, the Grin and Barrett, who posted a 3:12, and that'll be good enough to put him into the top 3. We've got 2 trucks left to go.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by General Tire, anywhere is possible. Rhino Ag, born to lead. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
Just 2 trucks left inside of the Superstock Diesel Truck category. Here at the Super Clean 300 Raceway, Farley Nationals, presented by Mack Trailer. One of those trucks is the 2018 champion. As we take a look at him right there, that is Cody Hastings, and it's called Against the Grain.
I'm looking for him to put a big power move up on the board here with this run, because he's not been very confident about the runs he's put in the book so far this season.
Well, a really good call on that one for sure. 3:17 and 13 will be just short of the leader and good enough to jump up into second place. A monster effort there.
Yeah, he told me that the mechanical that he had one day ago here at Farley, and then, the poor decision to drop a hook there at Greentown have really weighed on him. And he said he's really just got to get back to basics and what he does best out here. And that's being patient on the line, having a lot of throttle control, and then finishing strong. And you could see the rear end of that truck really working hard to hook up at the end as that box was topping off. And he just stayed in the throttle and powered through to the top end.
And the final truck inside of the category, Chase Eller driving the machine called Caretaker, and has been inside of the top 5 the last 3 years consecutively in the points. He's a player. And big RPMs out of that one. You've got to wonder what gear he chose. 3:01 and 63 won't be enough to play with the leaders tonight, but a beautiful sounding truck and a good looking hook. So much fun to watch these guys come out here and battle the way they do inside of this this category. I mean, it's a Champions Tour category. It's expensive, and the guys are as good as they come. Great fun for sure. Let's go down to the podium and talk to Eric Stacy.
It was an early hook tonight for Smokin' Ya, and Eric, you were the first one to run that right sideline, and it paid off for you.
Yeah, I mean, the two guys that me and Kent Crowder ran the right side, and Van and Cody ran the left side, and it was a little bit line sensitive. The center was kind of chewed up, but you know, I think they all ultimately did a little bit better job driving. They got a little bit more aggressive out of the hole tonight, and that seemed to kind of make the difference, because once they picked that pan up, it come over top of those holes, and man, they really set and took off. And I mean, hats off to them. They did awesome tonight.
Yeah, you're still hanging in there third, though, so still a great night
for
your team.
Absolutely. I mean, like I told you earlier, like, if you just said I'd have got, or told me I was going to get a top 5 tonight after my run, I'd have told you you were crazy. But I mean, we'll take it. I'm tickled to death, and I mean, we're just happy to be out pulling this year, and you know, see everybody that we've missed all summer long, and that's what's important. And we're happy, so we'll take it, and we'll go back to Ohio, and we'll see everybody here in a couple weeks at Scheid.
And here's a look at the final order as Van Hazley makes it 3 consecutive wins. Man, is he off to a great start here in 2020. Cody Hastings against the grain right up there and turning that program around, and Eric Stacy rounds out your top 3. And once again, we'll go back down to the podium.
Well, in the past, Cody, you've told me that it's really a lot of concentration on your hole shot that helped you out throughout your pulling career. And so how did that concentration on your hole shot help you out tonight?
Well, tonight wasn't the smoothest I thought, but I went through that second hole there. There's a couple holes there at the beginning. Went through that second spot, and I just must have got in at the right time and felt pretty decent after that. I knew I was close to Van, but not quite close enough.
With 3 consecutive wins, and keep in mind, this is after the 4th hook, but one of those was rained out. It is Van Hazley up top and has a 10-point spread over Kent Crowder. Shane Kellogg there inside of the top 3, Eric Stacy, and then John Bear round out your top 5. This one just getting going in a very tough category. Let's go back down and talk to our winner.
Well, the Rock Hard Ram is on a roll. And Van, I want to have you search back in your memories. When was the last time that you won 3 in a row?
Me and my wife were just talking about that, Leslie, and it has been back in brush hook days. In the professional series, we've never done a three-peat, and I'm just thrilled. Got a special thanks to RJ, Pro Pulling League, ARP for holding that hot rod together, and I'm just, my wife and I are just ecstatic. And the other thing is tonight is Team Hazley is 1, 2, 3, so just fantastic.
Never miss a hook. Go to propulling.com/set reminder to add all of the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League airings to your personal calendar. Receive a calendar reminder minutes before each event airs.
Keep in mind, you can always go to propulling.com and keep up with the latest news. Find out what the schedule is, and we'd love to see you at one of our events. Hope you enjoyed all the great pulling action courtesy of our Superstock diesel trucks and our unlimited Superstockers. So much fun out here in Farley, Iowa. For Leslie Mears, I'm Ken Stout. Thanks for watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.